Hello and welcome back to In My Opinion with Dr. Anansi, the podcast where we dig into stories that everyone's talking about and give you the real, unfiltered take. I'm your host, Dr. Anansi, and today we have an intense, almost shocking topic. The scandal that rocked Equatorial Guinea and it's sparking conversations all over Africa. And let's be real, this one actually touches issues on power, issues on ethics, morality, and in ways that has gotten everyone's attention. If you've not heard of what has happened, or you've not heard the news, or you don't know the gist, we are here to digest the gist. Imagine this man in power, someone who's supposed to represent the people. This man ends up in the news not for his policies, not for his works, but for leaked videos exposing his private relationships. And these aren't just like any relationship. Some of these women, as it turns out, are reportedly married. Some are even pregnant. Yes, that's right. And it's caused like a wave of questions on what power does to people, on whether leaders like him should be held to a higher morality standard. And as always, it raises the age-old question: does personal conduct affect public duty? So let's start with the facts, right? So explicit videos of this man began circulating. And in these videos, he's seen with like multiple women in intimate settings, which on its own is very eye-catching. But then what's more is that rumors are suggesting that some of these men are actually wives of other men, and not just any other men, allegedly high-profile figures, or even men linked to his circles, to the point where there are rumors of his brother's wife, his younger brother's wife. This moves beyond intimacy or just relationships. There's betrayal, there's secrecy, there's exploitation, and there's possibly even a case of power being manipulated, because we still don't know what exactly this man said that was able to convince all these women, because rumors out there say that there are allegedly about 300 to 400 videos. And what's wild is the amount of public reaction that it sparked, because people are asking, how did this footage get out? Was it like a targeted leak, or someone looking to ruin his reputation, or it was just poor judgment on someone's side? And more than that, it's actually sparking a collective anger, because this kind of behavior from someone who is a public official, it kind of feels like a slap in the face. This is like a breach of the trust that this man was supposed to uphold because of like his position. So now let's get into the meat of this. The relationship between power and privilege, especially in countries that are in Africa. People in power sometimes tend to feel untouchable. Like they believe laws don't apply to them. And we see it day in, day out in Ghana, for example. And what happens when you start feeling untouchable? It's easier to take liberties. Like you think you can do things that ordinary people cannot do, and you can easily get away with it because you feel like the consequences will not be able to be applied to you because you are, in a sense, untouchable. In this case, this man probably thought that he could live out these secret relationships without any consequences. But why would someone even think like this? It's because when power is found in the hands of the wrong person, it can create a certain arrogance, a belief that there won't be any consequences. And this is someone who is supposed to serve the people. Yet here he is, reportedly entangled in relationship with other people's spouses and kind of living this double life. And what kills me is he himself is married with 6 kids. Yes, he's married with 6 kids. Now let's take a moment to look at this from an ethical and a moral standpoint. In Ghana, for example, people in power to some extent, I'm using to some extent because then and now are 2 different situations altogether. So to some extent, people in power are seen as kind of role models, or at least they should be, whether they are pastors, chiefs, politicians, even corporate leaders. There's a certain unspoken expectation from them in a moral perspective. Now, does that mean they're perfect? No, but there's a reason people expect more from those who lead. If you're entrusted with resources, you're entrusted with the future, you're entrusted with the well-being of a country, shouldn't that come with a commitment to a certain level of personal integrity? Because in this situation, we have someone whose personal actions seem like a direct contradiction with what it means to be a leader. Beyond the cheating, beyond the disrespect, it's also exploitation. Because when someone in a position of power is engaging with people, they could be possibly be vulnerable because pregnant women we classify them under vulnerable in a sense, irrespective of the fact that from looking at how things are going, these women agreed to do these things with this man, knowing that they have spouses, knowing that they are carrying the children or they're carrying the child of their spouse. But then people in power engaging with people who, like I said, are possibly vulnerable, it shows kind of a lack of respect for the boundaries that come with leadership. But why does any of this matter to us anyway? Why is it such a big deal if someone in government or a big person is behaving like this? Here's the answer. The impact of leadership, it doesn't really end at policy or decision making. It tends to spill over to every part of society. For the youth, for example, especially here in Ghana, watching someone in authority misuse their position, it sets a dangerous precedent. It tells us that accountability is optional and that integrity doesn't matter as long as you are high enough up the ladder. So imagine a young person who sees this story and starts to think, if that's what it means to be successful, then maybe morality is important. And people tend to have this mindset, and this mindset eats away at the foundation of society. If our leaders cannot uphold even the basic of moral standards, how do we expect the younger generation to do any better? So where do we go from here? This scandal is more than just one man's poor choices. It's a call, a serious reminder that we need leaders who understand that their actions, irrespective of it being private or public, matter. It's a wake-up call to all citizens, wherever you're listening from, that you need to demand more transparency. You need to demand more integrity from all those who lead us. So to the youth listening out there, remember that leadership is about service, not privilege. It's about lifting people up, not exploiting them. It's about setting an example that others can be proud to follow. So this, to me, should be a lesson on why personal integrity, your personal standards, your personal rules and regulations as to how you want to lead your life should never take a back seat to ambition. It should go hand in hand to ambition. When ambition takes a step, integrity takes a step in that footprint. So thank you for tuning in for In My Opinion with Dr. Nancy. Let us keep having this conversation. Let us hold our leaders accountable and strive to be better ourselves. Hashtag End Galamsey now. Thank you. I'm your host, Dr. Nancy, and I'll catch you next time.